What's up, Archive? I'm a little bit more timid just because I'm outdoors. So if people hear me, it's gonna be weird. But crisp cut, Rocky Patel, Connecticut. I'm a fan of these as of recently, since starting to smoke cigars. Very creamy, me gusta. But as you can tell from the title here, smoke a cigar and read a fucking book. You already know what we're reading. We're gonna go as long as we can. We'll see if we get kicked out of here. Not that I don't live here, but I don't think you're supposed to do this. We shall see. We shall see. Trying to get thumbnails. Anyways, where did we end off last time? Okay. We went over like all the different things to see like whether you're on track or maybe your ego's in track and you're off track type deal. Okay. I'm gonna run this cigar up a little bit and then we're gonna get back to it. All right, let's get into this book. The ego has certain needs, and when those needs aren't met, we get embarrassed, offended, and irritated. The ego says we need to always appear more graceful, smart, and successful. This is now hitting my brain. When the ego's needs aren't met, we get embarrassed, offended, or irritated. The ego says that we need to appear graceful, smart, and successful, not embarrassed. Is that a bad thing though? Like in sales, when I get my feathers rustled, I'm really good at keeping my composure. That's my ego, I guess. Because I'm supposed to play this role of somebody who's professional, right? Instead of just being a human being. I think there's some truth to that, not entirely. The ego says we need to appear graceful, smart, successful, respected, not offended, and comfortable, not irritated. That's why the 5 factors of the affluenza virus are so attractive, because they seem to know how smart and successful we appear. We can look more beautiful, gain more respect, and be more comfortable, or so the ego would tell us. When I think of self-mastery, I envision mastering the ego by becoming 3 things. Number 1, unembarrassable. To be completely humble and selfless, where nothing you or anyone could say or do would embarrass you or reduce your sense of well-being. This makes sense. The only time you don't want to be humble and selfless is, I feel like, when it comes to certain aspects of social media. Because you need to appear a certain way. But obviously we're talking about sports. We're talking about mastery. Nothing you or anyone else could say or do would embarrass you. I guess the thing I deal with here is secondhand embarrassment, right? If I'm with somebody and they do just something absolutely idiotic, or like I'm with my sales team and our sales higher up is here and they do something stupid, I'm like, bro, you know better. Now it reflects on me, kind of. Or it's just something they always say, but it's like, dog, for real, now I'm embarrassed. Unoffendable. To be completely humble, selfless, where people's words or actions don't push your buttons or make you angry. To have self-control, not be self-protective. I think I'm pretty good at this. Pretty hard to offend me. Unless you're doom scrolling TikTok, Instagram, you getting those sad reels, bro. I'm gonna start drilling in. Or even in like sales, right? You have to be like unshakable, right? You don't have to be like puppy dog, hey, 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 which I can be a lot of the times. Sometimes you just have to be the rock. that's just focused. When they have the objections, right, it's not getting rustled or offended or embarrassed. It's just knowing how to overcome those and just shooting it straight. Unirritable, steadfast, calm, and compassionate to other people's flaws, fully present to the beauty and possibilities that await. I think this happens with objection handling too in sales. When you want a sale, it can get you irritable when you shortcut your way to overcome an objection, or the connection that you have with this person is not genuine. To be unembarrassable is to get to the point where no mistake or foolish words or actions by yourself or by others can make you feel less of a person, making you want to run or hide. I literally have this, and this is from last year where I was really struggling with some stuff, but you can see it says, I want to self-destruct. I had a lot of history last year of being on a high horse of momentum and then falling off and falling in a pit of doing nothing and self-sabotaging. When you're embarrassed, you simply have a concern for self. The more embarrassed you are, the more worried you are about your image. Yes. Even if it's secondhand embarrassment, right? It's like you're embarrassed that you're being perceived, associated with this person. Humiliation is a mental construct. Otherwise, how can two people experience the exact same thing where one person is traumatized and the other simply laughs it off? This is the same with like awkwardness. It's like people might think something's awkward, but maybe there's just a weird tension that somebody wants to avoid and they call it awkward, or they can't handle silence. Humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. Reducing the self-protection and fear that comes from a self-centered life. I forgot how much of a bar that is, bro. That might just be the title of this video. Humility isn't thinking less of yourself. Simply thinking of yourself less. Even in a sales process, bringing it back to sales. When you fade in the conversation and the focus is just on your helpful attributes for this person, being attentive, being present, knowing the objections that are overcoming, but being able to overcome them with a good heart, a good tone, and a good pace of how you speak, that's where things for me fall into place. And in anything when you're learning, right? It's like you have to not think less of yourself, but you just have to kind of lose this identity of you and just do the thing that might seem humiliating or embarrassing. It's like, lose the idea, do the thing. Guys, we're only half page in. To be unoffendable is to be so selfless and therefore fearless that no one could say anything or do anything to threaten your sense of self and steal your peace and presence. Selfless that no one can say or do anything to threaten your sense of self and steal your presence. When you're unoffendable, you will have the freedom to live life unattached to words or actions of anyone you might encounter. I would say I'm pretty good with this in person. It's only when things are online that I fall vulnerable to it. And I'm saying this, posting this to an archive vault. So this is like the vulnerable spot. But I think it's always been when I've been trying to push something or appear as something, or throw some spice on something, and there's the idea of wanting it to go somewhere, which means I'm open to the idea of it not happening and that affecting me, and also the idea of criticism. In our social media directed world, the new normal is a life of comparison. When we're constantly comparing, we often feel not enough which causes self-protection, which leads to being easily offendable. Especially when what you're building on social media isn't grounded in you and you're fighting to keep this image, right? When it's authentic, it's the best. Or when it's in a way that this image is super protected, I guess that's when it's also easier. When this is the case, we're always one comment away from conflict, just a puppet on a string pulled in whatever direction someone's words or actions might tell us. You might say, well, what if someone is totally rude to me or takes advantage of me? Then the best course of action is to use wisdom to discern how to proceed. Don't allow their lack of wisdom to be your lack of wisdom. The purpose of your life should always be what's guiding your life in every single moment, not letting the ego push purpose aside for temporary circumstance or pleasure. Let me guess. Is this the magic word that's on the next page? A cigar? Event. That's what it was. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you cannot let other people's words or actions take you out of your rhythm or flow. Especially because in any type of success, you will be around lots of people, unless you are competitive meditating, bro. Most people set their sights way too low, and if you're reading this book, your dreams are probably larger than average. Because most people don't read books. So it says something, but it doesn't say that much. Maybe, that's a negative mindset. I'm gonna cut that. The bigger your goals are, the smaller your group of peers becomes. Less and less people will be willing to sacrifice what you're willing to sacrifice. They won't have the same discipline or boundaries as you. I would say boundaries is the bigger one, right? This does not mean you're better than them. It just means you need to be careful who you spend time with. They won't have the same discipline or boundaries as you. This does not mean you're better than them. It just means you need to be careful with who you spend time with, because you're becoming like the people you spend the most time with. Spending time with this lady quite often. Very nice lady. Nice heart. Not stupid, but not stupid. Smart in the heart. I'm trying to think what other aspects I might be getting from this person, though. I haven't reflected on that. It also means that there may be more people who can't relate to you or will judge you. You will need to be emotionally prepared for this if you want to do extraordinary things. You can't get caught up in the negativity and irritations of little lollipop lives if you want to live the best possible life for you and you want that whole motherfucking candy store. Preach. To be unirritable is to be at a place where no person or circumstance can take away your presence. It's freedom from having to have things a certain way. Perhaps it's being tailgated, or when people are late to meet you, or maybe the Wi-Fi is slow or intermittent. Maybe someone's choice of words are inappropriate. Life is full of moments that can steal our focus and freedom. It's easy to let some person or event hijack your emotions. For me, I would say it's my own perception of these things, whether it's a person talking, which I'm pretty good at, but mostly the event. If I'm doing Claude Code and stuff's not going right, I'll probably just get mad at the fact that it's not working right and that it should go right, which usually means I need to reset. I gotta clear my cache. But I have to take a minute and look at my thoughts, like what are my thoughts on this situation? And how are they affecting my mood? What's my desire? And how is it not being met? How can I backtrack this and reevaluate what I'm doing? to approach it from a point that will let me focus better and not get caught up in emotions. Because once you do that, most of the time it doesn't help you. Most of the time. When that happens, you've gotten consumed by the circumstance. Some words or event unrelated to your true self took away your options and got you out of your flow. When we work on mastering our egos, we move towards the ideals. We got bugs everywhere. As we master our egos, we move towards the ideals of becoming unembarrassable, unoffendable, unirritable. In this, we become unstoppable. It may not be something you ever completely master, but it's a worthy pursuit, worthy of your energy, because the closer you get, the more freedom, focus, and belief you do have. So it's not like a 1 or a 0, right? You can get close. Dreams versus goals. The words dreams and goals are often used interchangeably, but here's how we differentiate. Goals are external outcomes that are not in your full control. To get a raise, to win a match, hit 300, become CEO. Dreams are feelings. We set goals in order to get the feelings we want. Winning a championship is amazing because of the feeling of happiness in the moment of satisfaction for all the work we put in. It's not the trophy or medal that does it, that's just the symbol. What we really want are ways to use our gifts and passion to feel truly alive. That's living our dreams. And I would agree. It's like every person's dream probably accumulates around the same type of feeling, which is just wanting to feel either alive, at peace, or loved, most likely. Dawn Stanley was a professional basketball player who won 3 gold medals in the Olympic Games. She describes her perspective in preparation for the Olympics. Winning the gold medal is my goal. It's the metric to reach, not the dream. My dream is about playing to win as often as possible and against the best women basketball players in the world. Winning the gold medal as a goal gives me direction as a metric to achieve that you can measure. But my dream is something I need to live every day. And I'm doing that each time I play to win. When I'm playing to win, that's when I feel resonance. If I win, that's great. I want to win, and having the gold medal as my goal forces me to play to win. But I love what I do. What my dream is to play to win. Dawn loves playing to win. That's when she feels alive. When the game is over, it's over. Wins or losses are just feedback. The real joy and passion is in the playing. It's in the process. It's why they have the quote, fall in love with the process. Our lives are not a Disney movie. You get to the height of the mountain, the movie does not end. It keeps going. The process keeps going, and the process may change. You have to fall in love with the process. If you can truly play without attachment to what happens when it's over, it creates such a positive energy that it resets the nervous system, totally recharges you. If there's one art that has become more and more lost in our busy lives, it's the ability to play like a kid, completely free. I would agree within music. Having to live on my own and focus on bills and foundational finances for the rest of my career and future families, it's stressful. So most of my focus is just on figuring out that part. I haven't made music in so long. Doesn't mean I hate the things that I'm doing, but it's hard for me to let myself be in that position, right? Another way to think of this positive energy, the kind similar to playing a kid Another way to think of this positive energy, the kind similar to a kid playing with complete freedom, is resonance. In physics, resonance is a state in which frequencies align. It is a dynamic force able to produce the world's most beautiful musical harmonies at the end of a spectrum and shatter glass at the other. To be fully engaged in the moment with a clear mind and unburdened heart is to experience resonance. Resonance has moments that are so amazing, they can be best described as sacred. When you have resonance, your performance is effortless and the outcome takes care of itself. Facts, bruh. Facts. I feel like that's what I look for a lot of the times, even with like girls. You want to find that sweet spot where you're just in that flow, in that alignment. Not trying to figure out the psychology of everything, although it does help. Trying to figure out this person. If you get in that flow, it happens naturally. And I don't expect everybody to understand that either. Extraordinary performance is merely a subset of extraordinary experience. Great results are the byproduct of resonance. The key to extraordinary performance, then, is to build on a foundation that creates the conditions for resonance. The pursuit of self-mastery is the pursuit of mastering your ego so you can be your true self. Your true self follows from being fully engaged and wholehearted, creating the energy of resonance. The energy is the rhythm of the Zoe life. Love leading with the heart. What your true self is and why it's important. Leading with the heart is striving to be your true self, who you were born to be, so you can experience the absolute fullness of life. Leading with your heart connects with the most fundamental law of the universe. If you cling to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for others, you will find it. Human nature is self-centered. If you live your life on the default setting, you'll constantly be trying to gain more for yourself in an attempt to be happy, but it never fulfills. You'll end up going in the opposite direction, living with anxiety and stress. However, if you devote your life to a purpose beyond yourself and commit to raising the level of excellence in your life in order to raise it in others, you'll gain fullness of life. Then you can perform with freedom and achieve extraordinary things. Consider the 9 characteristics Maslow used to describe the high achievers from chapter 1. Total absorption in the moment, personal growth, self-awareness, Gemeinschaft, building a community, gratitude, authenticity, solitude, purpose, and lack of ego. These characteristics exemplify leading with the heart. While it's a very selfless way to live, in a way, it's also very selfish because it has by far the greatest personal rewards. It's very costly, however. It takes intention and sacrifice and the willingness to give up comfort and self-concern. It means letting go of neediness and entitlement so you can do great things. Clinging to your life comes from seeing the world through a zero-sum finite lens. Zero-sum meaning we're all eating one pie and there's only so much of the pie to go around. When the last piece is taken, there's no more bites, no more whip or cream. Why do they say it like that, bro? Until you realize that the best possible life with the most freedom, confidence, and joy is had when you let go of self-protection and personal gain. Your vision will always be limited, continuously comparing and constantly threatened. Your outside world might look fantastic, but we're talking about your inner world, your emotions here. Giving up your life for a greater purpose creates an expansive awareness as you remove self-concern. So when you think about self-concern, it's quite literally the boundaries around this, right? When you think about other people, you start focusing on the boundaries, the limits within these people too. So it's like, there's videos of divine geometry. It starts with a point, and then awareness around that point. You have a circle. And then it's awareness around this point of the circle, another point, and then a circle from there. Only you can go to this point of the circle, create more. Or you can go to the original circle, right? You can create awareness from this point, and then create a circle. The more people, the more things outside of yourself allows you to expand that awareness. That's kind of what I'm trying to connect here. In this way, you can have the whole pie, not just the apple, not pumpkin, and cherry pies too, and cheesecake perhaps. Okay, moving on. Leading with your heart starts by pursuing the self-awareness necessary to develop your true self. Awareness is first, I guess. Your true self is the greatest. Your true self is the greatness within you that sees clearly, loves deeply, and lives fully. The true self has unknown, unlimited possibilities. You bring to the world something no one else in the world can. No one has your gifts, your connections, and your unique energy and lens through which you view the world. When I read this, it's empowering, but to think that everybody truly has a unique energy and lens, I don't know. There's a lot of people. To say that one aspect is a little bit different than the other, yes, but I would say that a lot of people, including myself, can fall down to a lot of categories. To be fearless, you must be selfless. Otherwise, you'll always fear losing something or some part of yourself. To be fearless, you must be selfless. Because if you have concern for self, concern is caution, that there's usually some sort of fear around something, right? If you're concerned with that aspect of the self, you're not free. You're not unbound by fear. To be selfless, you must develop inner strength to walk by faith, not by sight. To end your reliance on stable circumstances or what others think of you. The more you do this, the more your life becomes a spiritual one of faith and fearlessness rather than a physical and mental one of fear and scarcity. When you lead with the heart, you have the capacity to see beauty and make connections only you can. When you lead with your heart, you have the capacity to see beauty and make connections only you can. You can connect ideas and people and dreams that no one else can. This is what I like. This is what I can agree on. Because everybody has a unique set of connections between people. Or at least they can be the starting connection, which in a way is unique, right? Leading with your heart gives you the courage to be bold and perhaps risk looking foolish if it means living your purpose and pursuing your dreams. Here's a comparison of typical competitive mindsets versus leading with the heart. I'm gonna save this until next time. I got quite a buzz from this. I'm gonna have a little bit more of the Patel. I'm gonna go back and work on some quad coating, but this is the archive. This is the archive. Ain't nothing more to say about that. Ooh, that went straight to the back of my throat. I'll see you next time, archive.